Om Jnana-timirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Gurave Gaura Chandraya Radhikaya Stadalaye Krishnaya Krishna Bhaktaya Tadbhaktaya Namo Namaha Narayanam Gurum Vande Sharanyam Bhakta Bandhavam Gauramanovistam Purnam Radha Dasyam Pradayakam Rupanugacharya Varyambu Rupa Manjari Preshtakam Patita Pavana Bandhavam Yugacharya Narayanam Vanchakalpa Tarubhyascha Kripa Sindhu Vyayevacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Namo Mahavadanyaya Krishna Prema Pradayate Krishnaya Krishna Chaitanya Namne Gaura Twise Namaha Shama Sundara Shikanda Shekara Ismirahasara Murali Manohara Radhikara Sikamam Kripanide Swapriya Charana Kinkarim Kuru Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priya Vrindai Tulasi Devyai Priyai Keshavascha Krishna Bhakti Prade Devi Sattavatyai Namo Namaha Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shri Vasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ramu Ramo Ramo Hare Hare. So first of all, I begin offering my most humble obeisances to the dust of the lotus feet of Param Maradattama Shri Guru Pada Padma Nitya Lila Pravishta Om Vishnu Pada Paramhamsa Paribrajacharya Astotra Sata Srimad Srila Bhakti Vedanta Narayana Goswami Maharaj Srila Gurudeva, and to my most worshipable Shiksha and Sannyasa Guru Nitya Lila Pravishta Om Vishnu Pada Paramhamsa Paribrajacharya Astotra Sata Srimad Srila Bhakti Vijnana Bharati Goswami Maharaj, and to all Shri Rupa and Gauriya Guru Varga, to all Tridandi Sannyasis, Brahmacharis, Vaishnavas, Vaishnavis, and to all the assembled devotees here today, my most respectful obeisances. So by the causeless mercy of Srila Gurudeva and all Mahabhagavatas Acharyas, we are able to assemble here one more time. So continue reading from the Chatushloki Gita, the 4 main verses of Bhagavad-gita commented by Srila Bhakti Rakshaka Shirdhara Goswami Maharaj. So previously we have read all the 3 different commentaries of Srila Maharaj from the verses 8, 9, and 10 of the 10th canto of Bhagavad-gita. And now remaining the last verse, the 11th verse. So let us start reading and then see how Srila Maharaj is going to present his commentary on that verse. Tisham mevanukam partam maham magyana jam thama nasayami atma bhavastu jnana dipena bhavashvata. Out of compassion for them, I, situated within the hearts of all living beings, dispel the darkness of ignorance with the radiance of knowledge. So being conquered by the love of those devotees who in the most elevated position of non-calculative love and devotion, jnana shunya prema bhakti, are afflicted by all devouring darkness born of the pangs of separation from me, their Lord, I, granting them the internal illumination of meeting me personally, destroy the darkness of their agony of separation. So this is Srila Maharaj's already his definition of this verse, or translation, we can say, of this verse, giving the actual meaning of ignorance or darkness of ignorance. That darkness of ignorance means darkness of separation from Krishna. Ignorance means you don't know where is Krishna. You are not with Krishna. So that causes a lot of suffering. The pangs of separation are like this, he says, all devouring darkness. So those devotees who are afflicted by this feeling of separation, when they meet with me, they can destroy completely this suffering as well as this darkness. So now let us read the commentary of Srila Maharaj. The general interpretation is always given for this verse. Out of compassion for them, I, situated within their hearts, dispel the darkness of ignorance with the radiance of knowledge. But if we appreciate pure, non-calculative devotion, or jnana shunya bhakti, the Lord's statement here may again appear redundant and inconsistent. When those high devotees are already admitted to be performing continuous and unadulterated service, and even above that, they are situated in the plan of pure love, spontaneous and automatic, means rag marga, how can it be harmonized that the Lord will now, in the last stage, destroy their ignorance, which is born from misunderstanding, or ajnana jam, by giving them knowledge, or jnana? So basically what Srila Maharaj is saying is very, very interesting. He said that the general translation of the verse says that my devotees who are situated in the non-calculative devotion, means they are already in pure bhakti, means jnana shunya, means without jnana, prema bhakti. They are in prema bhakti, they are in shuddha bhakti. So how they can be in ignorance at the same time? They have no ignorance. So that becomes redundant, Srila Maharaj is saying. So there is something wrong with this direct translation. To say that pure devotees who are already in Rag Marga, already in Prema Bhakti, how they can be under the darkness of ignorance. So this was Srila Maharaj's first point. Jnana is only a cover, a futile, finite conception of the infinite absolute. Means jnana karmadhyana avritam. When they have achieved devotion devoid of covering of knowledge, means jnana shunya bhakti, how will they again have to return to that knowledge? In his commentary, Srila Vishwanatha Chakravarti Thakur has mentioned that this knowledge is extraordinary, bilakshanam, but he did not enter into a specific detail. To clarify this point, we have given the following explanation. Lamentation and delusion are generally known to be the symptoms of the mode of ignorance, tamaguna. In jnana shunya bhakti, means bhakti without jnana, the elevated devotees who take Krishna not as the supreme God, but as a friend, son, husband, or lover, will come to experience lamentation and delusion. But this is only an outward appearance of ignorance. So he's saying that all these nitya parikaras even of Krishna, they will manifest suffering. That suffering has many causes. Lamentation, separation, anguish, they will manifest all of this. But the difference is that it's not born out of ignorance in the sense of that they are under the influence of Maya or the material modes of nature. There is another reason for that. So, in fact, it is in the pain of divine separation. They lament, "Where have you gone, Krishna?" In this verse, the Lord's statement, "Tesham mevanukam partam," generally means, fortunately for them, or to favor them, I dispel their darkness. But it may also be interpreted, I want their favor. I aspire for the favor of those devotees of the highest order. Now Maharaj is giving another interpretation for the Sanskrit words, and he's like shifting or twisting the meaning and putting, now is not more the devotees who are in need of Krishna's favor, but it's Krishna who is in need of his devotees' favor. Because Krishna is suffering. Many times Krishna is suffering separation from Srimati Radhika. Many times he's suffering for many, many reasons. So, because he's in separation of the gopis, of his parents, of his friends, of Vrindavan itself, of his cows, especially when he is in Dwarka, or in any other circumstance that he may be separated or even with them, but facing some type of challenge. For example, when Madhya Yashoda, she bind Krishna in the grinding mortar, Krishna was deeply sad and upset with Madhya Yashoda. He didn't even want to go to her lap again. And there was a big type of drama there. So in this way, there are many situations in which Krishna is somehow suffering, and and he aspires for the favor of those devotees of the highest order. That's what Srila Maharaj is saying here. The Lord also says in the Srimad Bhagavatam, Mai bhaktir hi bhuttanam amrittavaya kalpate distya yadasing mat sneho bhavattinam madhapanaha. Srimad Bhagavatam 10:82-44. Devotion to me is the only means for the living beings to attain eternal life. O gopis, by your fortune, your love and affection for me is the only reason for your getting my association. So this is the general meaning. However, in Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita, Srila Krishna Das Kaviraj Goswami has drawn out the inner meaning, which is just the opposite. So let us read that. Through devotion, everyone wants me to help them attain the highest position of eternal benefit. And if they have a connection with me, they consider themselves fortunate. But I consider myself fortunate because I have come in touch with the valuable affection that I found in your hearts. By my fortune, I got your association. So here, Srila Maharaj is quoting Srila Kaviraj Goswami, who translates this verse saying that Krishna says that he is fortunate to be with the gopis, not the opposite. So in general, this is the type of interpretation that the gopis, which are in the Radha's camp, they are actually, like publishing, they prefer this type of translation. When we studied Srila Gurudev's Gopi-Gita, for example, Srila Gurudeva, he said that it could have many translations of all these verses of Gopi-Gita. But he was just giving 2 or 3 at the best, but maximum 2. One for Chandravali's camp, or the general one, and another one for Radharani's camp. So here again, Srila Maharaj is saying, Krishna is very fortunate. He feels very fortunate to be in the association of the gopis. So therefore, here in Sri Gita, the Lord is saying tesham mevanu kampartham, being conquered by the love of those devotees. When I cannot tolerate their pain of separation, I at once come running to satisfy them, and I reveal to them with a special light, special consciousness. I have returned to you. See me now. So, what is that? For example, this is the end of the Gopi Gita song. So, Krishna, he appears again to the gopis. And he shows himself because not the gopis were about to die in separation, but because he was feeling separation. He was not able more to tolerate that separation. Therefore, he ran back to them. And something happened when he's in Dwarka and he must go back to Braj because he's suffering in separation. If you remember, Srila Gurudev, he gives on his book, Origin of Rath Yatra, 3 stories about Jagannath's appearance, right? Krishna is melting down. One of them is that he is in Dwarka, Krishna is in Dwaraka, and he's completely out of his senses, out of his mind, speaking many things as if he's in Vrindavan. And then he loses his consciousness, and Narada Muni and others are discussing how to wake him up, because as soon as he wake up, he wants to run to Vrindavan. But if things are not ready there to receive him, then it won't be good. So they all are planning. Why? Because Krishna is on the limit of his separation. He cannot tolerate it more. So separation is something which is not only felt by gopis, as usually we common like here, right? But Krishna himself, he's feeling so much separation, so much. But because he himself wants to taste what is the separation that Srimati Radhika feels, we are focusing more in that, right? But for those gopis in the camp of Srimati Radhika, they will write like this. They will give special evidence for what? Oh, Krishna is suffering for Srimati Radhika. Not Radhika is suffering for Krishna. As Gurudev many times said, the Palyadasis of Srimati Radhika, they never like to see Radharani suffering for Krishna, but instead seeing Krishna suffering for Srimati Radhika. This is a great victory for them, because he's the Supreme Lord, he's the Almighty, he's the source of everything. He's the object of all worship, everyone's love and appreciation, and everyone's service. But now he also wants to serve Srimati Radhika. He also is showing to the whole world, to the whole universe, that there is someone that he is surrendering himself. But that can never happen with Narayana, for example. Or Narayana, he has no leelas of surrendering to Lakshmi Devi or anything like that, because he is God in that absolute position of being the object of worship. But Krishna, no, Krishna is not God. In Vrindavan, Krishna is not God. So therefore, Krishna, he is manifesting this. So continue there. The end of the quote says, so I at once come running to satisfy them, and I reveal to them with special light, special consciousness. I have returned to you, see me now. So with powerful brilliance, Jnana Deepana, I show them my presence when they are very much in need of me, and I relieve their pain of separation. So, Atma Bhavastha, he reveals himself according to his devotee's divine relationship with him, or rasa. To a friend as a friend, to a mother as a child, to a wife as a husband, and to the sweethearts as a paramour. After Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu left home and accepted the renounced order of life, sannyasa, Mother Sachi could not tolerate the deep separation, and she began to cry. Sachidevi was preparing excellent dishes, offering them to the deity and the weeping. Where is my Nimai? He is very fond of these curries, his favorite dishes, and Nimai is not here. Suddenly, Lord Chaitanya came and began to eat. Sachidevi exclaimed, "Oh, Nimai is eating." And for the time being, her separation was relieved. Moments later, she considered, did I see Nimai eating? But he's now a sannyasi in Jagannath Puri. So how could he have come here? Did I serve him? There must be a mistake. Then she examined the pots again to see if there was food there. Finding them empty, she began to conjecture whether even a dog or some other animal had come and eaten it. But during that moment, Nimai had actually come, and Mother Sachi saw him in broad daylight. That illumination is transcendental and not the knowledge, jnana, that is generally known as our vocabulary. Okay, so this light, which he's just giving this example, is the light of the presence of the divine, means Krishna or Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Not just knowledge, but sambandha jnana, not only jnana, but sambandha jnana. She was not having only knowledge about Mahaprabhu, she was having the relationship with Mahaprabhu, which is very intimate. So that is the light of knowledge, light of jnana or sambandha jnana. The acme of theism is Parakiya rasa, means the top, topmost, the pinnacle of theism is Parakiya rasa. Parakiya means another's or someone else's. In every divine relationship, the Lord captures all. In the whole of Vrindavan, where everyone follows the path of love, Rag Marga, this Parakiya rasa is infused. The friends of Krishna sometimes say, some people say that Krishna is a resident of Mathura. They say he's the son of Vasudeva and he will soon go to Mathura. They say he's not our friend. Will we really lose his company? Then how will we be able to live in this jungle and drive the cows? So they experience this apprehension. We may lose him at any time. So this intensifies their friendly service to him. So this is another very important point. Like psychologically, we can also analyze that. You see, Krishna, he's always working with the fear. Always working with fear. There is always the fear of the demons. There is always the fear of separation. There is always the fear, of any calamity, like Indra's storm, and many other things. And by that fear, what happened? The sense of needing Krishna's protection increases a lot. The sense of I may lose Krishna at any time increases their love and their greed to be with Krishna. To be with Krishna. So it's not different from this material world. You can see that in the material world, Maya uses fear to make you actually forget about God and just enjoy as much as you can your last day of life, because tomorrow anything can happen. So let us enjoy. So it's actually the opposite which happens there. There, Jogamaya uses fear to unite everyone to Krishna. Here, Mahamaya uses the fear to separate everyone from Krishna. So everyone will just enjoy and forget about spiritual life because it may be your last day. And what to speak of last day? We have only one life. There is no even another chance for us. It is this or hell. And anything is better than hell. So let us enjoy. So this is the way. But so in this way, all this fear will intensify the greed of Krishna's associates. So similarly, Mother Yashoda says, some say that Krishna is not my son, he's Devaki's son. What is this? I won't admit this. He is my child. This idea enhances Yashoda's affection for Krishna. I may lose him, then how shall I live? Therefore, the Parakiya Rasa stresses the rarity of Krishna's relationship, because the possibility of losing his company is always in the background. But the highest intensity of service is to be found in the Madhura Rasa camp, in the in the Madhura Rasa camp. So another very important point that Srila Maharaj has highlighted here, but it's not so clear yet, but is about to come, is that he translates Parakiya not as only paramour, but the sense of belonging to someone, the sense of belonging to Krishna. So he's just going to present that in this next sentence here. So in the other rasas, there is the idea of suspense that he may go away. But in the conjugal relationship in the divine abode of Vrindavan, the consorts cross the direction of the scriptures and the society, which guide everyone to remain as husband and wife, Swakiya. Parakiya means another's, has been accepted in the science of devotion as the highest conception above Swakiya, because social and scriptural sanction is generally a stale conception. Parakiya or paramour relationship is necessary to deceive those who claim ownership over another, such as a husband over the wife or a parent over a child. In the normally accepted connection, Swakiya, the relationship is very cheap, but to cross the jurisdiction of the scriptures and society as a paramour means a greater risk, as if to commit sin. Thus, this relationship is very rare, and the rarity enhances its intensity and value. The idea of deceiving the possessor to favor the non-possessor is a beautiful ornamental conception. Actually, in Krishna's case, there cannot be any state of paramourship, because in truth, he's the owner of everything. So this is another very, very important thing Maharaj is clarifying. If everything belongs to Krishna, then there is no point of he being the non-possessor. Means the gopis accept Parakiya with him, means the gopis, they belong to their husbands, but now they're going to meet with Krishna, who is the non-possessor, if everything belongs to Krishna, if Krishna possesses everything, is the possessor of everything. However, the divine arrangement is fashioned in this way to enhance the devotee's eternal devotion for the Lord, just as food appears more tasteful when hunger is present. In the planets known as Vaikuntha, the nature of worship of the Lord, Vishnu, is gorgeous, majestic, reverential, and awe-inspiring. But above that, the highest conception of Godhead is just like a human form and nature. It is stated in Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita, in the teachings to Sanatana Goswami. Krishnera jate ka khela sarvata manara lila narava putahara swarupa gopavesha vinkara nava kishorana avara nara lila hoya nurupa Krishnera madhurupa rupa shuna sanatana jerupera eka kaudubai sabatri bhuvana sarva prani kare akarshan. The most supreme form of Godhead is Krishna, who plays in his eternal divine pastimes, just like a human being. An ever-youthful cowherd boy of Vrindavan, he annexed his pastimes, always playing his flute. His beauty is so charming and sweet that the whole universe is flooded by an atom of it, and all beings are drawn irresistibly to him. So it means, in other senses, that everyone has Parakiya mood in Vrindavan, in Golok. All rasas, they have Parakiya mood. Why? Because Parakiya means the sense of belonging to someone, belonging to Krishna. So everyone feels they belong to Krishna. No one feels they belong to someone else, only to Krishna. Although they may have any type of particular relationship with someone, like Nanda Baba is a husband of Jashoda. The Sakas, they have their parents. The Gopis, they have their husbands. But none of them think they belong to those particular persons, but they only belong to Krishna. Therefore, the whole land of Vrindavan is called the land of Parakiya. So Parakiya, in a broad sense, it's not only the relation between Krishna and the Gopis, and the married Gopis, but with all Brajavasis. Okay? So continue here. He is approachable by all. We can find God nearest of all in a human feature. It has been explained how Krishna's nature of human feature is the highest nature of the Absolute, according to the calculation of ecstasy, which is the common standard of measurement of the whole scope of the infinite. By the development of Shanta, Dasa, Sakya, Vatsalya, and Madhurya, and then Parakiya, means peacefulness, servitude, friendship, parenthood, and consorthood, and the paramour relationship. So this is scientifically proved without whimsical or blind faith. If we follow the line of Rupanuga Bhajan, devotion following the standard of Srila Rupa Goswami, which originates from Sri Chaitanya Deva, this scientific basis can be appreciated. The previous acharyas have left for us, step by step, how we can follow, conceive, and attain all these things. So this is the end of Srila Maharaja's commentary of the Bhagavad-gita, of the Chatushloki Gita. So how beautiful we can see step by step how he is building, and how the shlokas themselves, they are building this understanding to come to Parakiya. As we have seen in the first one, which is Aham Sarvasya Prabhavo, Krishna says, everything comes from me. So, and of course, bhakti also comes. And devotion for himself also comes. And the source of devotion for him is personified in Srimati Radhika. So he's preparing like this scenario. The shloka itself is introducing the scenario by putting Srimati Radhika at the center. And then it will come after in the next one, say how those who are in the Madhura Ras, as Srimati Radhika is the backbone of that devotion. She's in Madhura Ras. So therefore, the topmost service is in Madhura Ras. And then he says, Tushanti Chara Manticha in the 9th verse. Means, Tushanti means all the other rasas. And then Ramanti means the Madhura Ras. How this is the topmost. And then afterwards, he will, afterwards we have the 10th verse, which is Teshansa Tatai Yuktanam. Dadami Buddhi Jogam Tam. I am giving the understanding so you can come to me. But again, we can also apply that same argument that he uses in the 11th verse, saying if there are already devotees in Priti Bhajan, if they're already like in Prema Bhakti, how they can come to Krishna? They are already with Krishna. So what Krishna is talking about? Krishna is talking about all the arrangements for their intimate meetings with the gopis, especially with Srimati Radhika. So Krishna, he will give the proper understanding. So where they're going to meet, where is the next pastime, and so many things like that. So, and then again, and then he, in this same verse, he also will set up the word upayanti as upapati. And then by that, he's like making the ground for upapati means the paramour. So then he's preparing for the 11th verse, in which he will totally describe this Parakiya relationship between not only Krishna and Madhura Ras, but between Krishna and all the other rasas. Every particular type of Parakiya. So this is the most beautiful and deep commentary of Srila Bhaktiraj Shashidhar Goswami Maharaj on the Chatusloki Gita. We're going to stop here then.